For centuries, Western science operated under a largely materialistic assumption. Reality consisted solely of matter, energy, and forces acting upon them. Consciousness, on the other hand, meaning and purpose were treated as secondary phenomena, emergent byproducts of complex biological systems. Scripture, by contrast, has always insisted upon the opposite ordering. Meaning precedes matter, and the visible world is grounded in an unseen intentional reality. What is striking in recent decades is not that science has proved biblical claims, it hasn't, it requires faith, but that science itself is increasingly destabilizing philosophical materialism that once excluded biblical claims. Number one, the biblical worldview. Reality begins with meaning, not matter. The Bible opens not with particles or processes, but with Logos himself, the pre-incarnate Word. In the beginning was the Word, Logos, and all things were made through him. John 1 through 3. In the scripture, reality is spoken, not accidental. Order flows from intentional intelligence. Matter is contingent, not ultimate. This is not poetic ornamentation, it is ontological claim. The universe is intelligible because it originates in divine intelligence. Number two, science's quiet retreat from naive materialism. Modern physics, particularly quantum mechanics, has forced scientists to confront the uncomfortable truths. One, physical systems do not behave independently of context. Two, observation cannot cleanly be separated from description. Number three, time, locality, and causality are not absolutes as once assumed. Importantly, this does not mean consciousness creates reality. It does mean reality is not exhausted by material description alone. This shift is not towards mysticism, but towards epistemic humility. Science increasingly acknowledges matter behaves as though information is fundamental. The universe is mathematically elegant in ways that exceed necessity. Three, observation, structure, and relation matter as much as substance. In biblical terms, science is discovering that creation is sustained, coherent, and ordered in ways that point beyond itself. Number three, seen and unseen. Complementary, not competing realities. Scripture never denies the physical world, it relativizes it. What is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. 2 Corinthians 4:18. This is not anti-material, it is anti-reductionist. Likewise, contemporary science does not claim that unseen dimensions are spiritual realms. It does increasingly admit that the deepest structures of reality are not directly observable. Mathematical form precedes physical manifestation. What we experience is not the full story. The convergence is not content, but imposture. Both scripture and serious science now reject the assumption that what we see is all there is. Number four, consciousness, not creator, but a clue. Biblically, consciousness is not sovereign, it is derivative. In him we live and move and have our being. Acts 17:28. Human awareness does not generate reality, it participates in reality already given. When science struggles to explain consciousness purely as neural activity, it does not validate biocentrism, but it does expose the inadequacy of reductionism. Consciousness behaves like a mechanical output and more like a window, a receptive faculty oriented towards meaning, truth, and relation. In that sense, consciousness becomes an allegorical signpost, not ontological engine. Five, death, continuity, and biblical hope. Here the distinction must remain sharp. Scripture does not teach that consciousness drifts across realities or persists through observation, it teaches something far more grounded and more radical. The dead will be raised imperishable. 1 Corinthians 15:52. The Christian hope is not survival of awareness, but resurrection, the restoration of embodied personal existence by God's power. Science, for its part, cannot adjudicate resurrection. It can dismantle the assumption that death necessarily equals annihilation of all meaning of reality. By loosening materialism's grip, science removes philosophical obstacles without replacing biblical promise. As C.S. Lewis once observed, when false philosophies fall away, the truth does not need to be defended. It simply becomes visible again. Modern science is increasingly challenging the assumption that reality is fully reducible to matter and mechanism. While physics does not confirm biblical theology, it's a growing recognition of unseen structure, informational primacy, and the epistemic limits resonate with Scripture's long-standing claim that the visible world is grounded in deeper, purposeful reality. This sense is science is not replacing revelation, but it's clearing the ground of materialism that once made relation can once be heard again. Science once ushered the Age of Enlightenment, implying that biblical Christianity was a fairy tale believed by ignorant people. But now science is proving much of the basis for this so-called Enlightenment was in error. The Creator's truth prevails. Call Dan Cross for a counseling appointment at 918-844-4148 and get my books on Amazon, Fully Christ, Thorn in My Flesh, and Rewired for Joy. Call Dan Cross, 918-844-4148.